What should we do to speed up the processes we are working on, or the projects actually, or especially when we are creating the patterns? The first method is using hatches. I mean, using the hatches in Rhino 8 can help us to speed up the process. Suppose that here I want to create a simple surface, and then like this way. Watch this. Then I want to select one, and I also want to select some other faces, and then I move them by this way. Well done. I curve the surface. Well done. Then I want to create a specific pattern on it. Firstly, create UV curves as mentioned. The next step, we have to draw the patterns. We can start hatch, which this hatch command. Then we select the boundaries. After that, we specify the hatch pattern. For instance, this type, grid 60. I can change its scale to, for instance. I increase it. 4D, better. And after adding the hatch, unfortunately, we can't apply the hatches. Watch this. They are not selectable. So, in order to convert the hatches to some lines, we need to explode them. Then we select the curves, apply curve, and then apply them on the surface. Watch this. Just in a few moments. Without drawing these lines or patterns, without arraying them, only by just using the hatches, exploding them, and then applying them on the curves on the surface. And after transferring the curves on the surface, this is the result. And we used explode for converting the hatches to curves. And finally, I can select them and changing its curveness. Look, and deform the surface like this way. Well done, Ctrl Z to undo the process. And let me check the number of the hatches that I want to talk about them. Watch this. We got a few hatches here, hatch patterns. However, you can use the hatch files from the other CAD softwares. However, you can download the hatches for AutoCAD and then import them into Rhino. Here in Rhino options in hatch, we can click on import and then import the hatches like this way. Here we got too many options. Watch this and click on OK and OK. Then from now on, when we click on hatch, we got too many options. Then we can choose one from the list. Check this out. Then we scale it. And if you wanted to specify the base point, watch this. For instance, I specify another point for the adjustment of the pattern. Explode, curve, select, apply curve, and done. And then I apply it by this way. Again, Ctrl Z to undo the process, selecting the hatch. I choose another hatch pattern. Anyway, you can search for the hatches, having them downloaded, and then import them into your Rhino. And also you can use them in your modeling processes, not only creating panels. For instance, let me see, what do we have? Like this, these tones. I choose this, select, explode, and also I can volumize them. Watch this. We got too many options to do with the hatches. I just want you to give you ideas about using hatches. But here, as we got too many curves, it takes some time to be loaded. So we should take our time and do not click on escape. Watch this. And when it is done, we can continue. Anyway, firstly, we model the patterns, the 2D patterns on the UV curves. And after that, we use some tools like hatches or like array or making copies, and afterwards applying curves. And we talked about creating simple patterns on surfaces and also simple patterns on deformed surfaces. What about the parametric patterns on the surfaces in Rhino? We just talked about it to some extent, about like scale each and the modes of gradient, normal, and so on. And right now we want to talk about the using vector files. Right now, in order to model a new hash pattern from scratch, we need a rectangular module, and then we need to draw a pattern inside the rectangle or square. For instance, I want to draw such a pattern. However, you may prefer to draw other things. And I want to recommend you to draw some regular patterns, okay? Not irregular like this. And then I mirror them by this way. But if you were unsatisfied out of the result, you can change them. For instance, you can make them aligned or paralleled, the lines, and then to make the curves meet each other when duplicating them. Here there is a plugin that I will give you the file, which is make hatch. If I drag it and then drop it into Rhino, then we can start the command of make hatch. We need to type it, then select the types, pressing down enter, and then we'll have a preview of the hatch. As you can see, the hatch is arrayed, and we could have connect this line to there straightly, that if I had drawn it straightly, we would have an interesting pattern. I assign a name for the pattern. However, we can add a hash description and then save the hatch as a new file and then save it like this way. Watch this. The new hatch is saved. And also we can import it to AutoCAD and then use it. So you can use this plugin to create hatches out of the drawn curves. Let us talk about the vectors. In vector-based softwares like Illustrator or Corel, we can draw or create such a files. I mean, you can download such files, and then you can import them to Rhino in curves. Let me import it. Watch this. We got them as curves. And after that, we can apply this pattern on the surface. Let me draw a surface here. Firstly, I draw the edges and then I create a surface out of them. So, do we need to create the UV curves? Because here we already have a rectangle. Anyway, I maximize the rectangle, select the pattern, then I apply it. Watch this. This is the result. And this is a complex process in other softwares. I mean, if you have experienced other CAD softwares, we got too many challenges to do this using other softwares, while we can do this in Rhino just in a few moments. And also we can use the apply curve command in different examples, especially in slimy patterns.